What up? What up? Welcome to the golf locker room. Welcome to the golf locker room. All right, we're here. We in the house. What up, Trish?
What up? What up? What up? What's up, fellas?
What's good?
Oh,
What's good?
everything is good. Everything is good. What up, Big Sif Dog?
Man, trying to make $1 out of 15 cents.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah. Aren't we all, man? Let me tell you, aren't we all? Um, Anything in the news we want to talk about before we get to our guests?
What you
Not
got?
really. Not really. Just waiting on the Masters, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Masters, man. Oh, we'll mention the Mac Champ Championship, the Mac Champ Invitational. That went
Hmm.
off pretty good. Shout out to what is that? Alana
Yeah.
Avery. And what's
Hmm.
the young man's name? Oh, I had him on the tip of my tongue too. I gotta mention what was the young man's name? Let me go in
I think that's
and see.
VJ. Isn't that
For now. For
Finale?
now. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. Great tournament. I think the women's went to a playoff. Uh, Shout out to the youth, all the youth that played in the MAC
Yeah. Like what?
Invitational.
100 and 121.
I want to say, yeah, about 120, 121 elite golfers. They was playing a tough course, testing their abilities to the
Yes.
fullest. You know what I mean? Those scores shot was not give me scores.
No.
Here's a little
None of that.
They
windy.
work. They definitely work for it. From what I hear.
Yeah. A little windy on the second day. Tough, hard courses. But if you look at the last few tournaments on the tour, on the PGA tour, the conditions have been about the same. They've played through some tough conditions. The
Right.
players was a monster. You know what I'm saying? The players was tough for them. So, that's golf. I think, you put the ball down and you play.
Well,
Whether it's sunny, windy, cold, rainy, and everybody's teeing it up from the same weather perspective. What you got to say, Big Sif?
yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, man, you want to be able to compete against the best at the top venues, and so
Period. Period.
you
Period.
can't
Let's get
set a
that up too.
benchmark. You can't set a benchmark, man. And so I think the way Jeff had it set up, man, is cats leave there going back to their respective towns and cities, knowing that hey, I got to step my game up. I got to be able to play against the best, and I got to find. Tiger talks about it all the time, man. Finding something within you, with inside of you, to grind it out. This shit ain't easy. Everybody would be doing it.
Oh, come on, man. Everybody would be a millionaire if getting $1 million was easy. I would say this: whatever you're doing, know that it's uh, a couple of steps harder when you go somewhere else. And that's just on anything, whether it's basketball, football, cricket, whatever you playing. Some people get lucky and they got really good competition at home.
Right,
Like some of the young cats playing b-ball in New York or even LA at Venice Beach, and they playing, or in the South North Carolina, they playing against, they're just lucky that they live around the best players
right,
Yeah.
that's probably in the world. So they
right,
maybe grew up playing against the best players, no matter what sport. But a lot of stars didn't have that opportunity. So somehow they reached down and tried to find uh, their competition when it wasn't around the corner from their house. They only saw great competition when they
right.
traveled or when they left, but somehow they pulled it out. And I think that's what, our juniors, especially minority juniors, they don't always have a chance to play the best courses. They don't always have a chance to play against the best competition. They're not putting on 12 greens
Mhm.
or 11
Mm.
greens. You know what I mean? But them tournaments be 12s and 11s. You they gonna be them tournaments gonna be 12 and 11s.
Hey,
And so, no, that's coming. Yeah, that's crazy. That's
hey,
crazy. But
Yeah.
we was talking to when we got a great HBC on tonight, and we was talking with one of our first HBCUs, Fame U. And coach was like, he was looking at his players, and his players was looking back at him. Some of them was like, I'm afraid to touch the ball. The greens were so fast, they didn't even really want to touch it because they thought it was going to slide off the planet. It was so fast. So, these are things that we all got to take in mind. And I
Yeah,
love it, man. I
I don't
love it.
think people understand that. I mean, you guys played enough golf over your lifetime to know where you've run up on some greens that were
I've been
12.
blessed to play
12.
good. Yeah, I've been blessed to play
And
good
so,
greens.
so for people who don't get outside of their areas and never are able to play on 12, 12 and a half, 13, they have no idea the seriousness that is. That's why I have a deep appreciation for those guys on tour, man, because
Yeah.
we're putting on 12 and, the grain is away from you. You can't stop it.
Nah,
It's, ner-
nah, nah.
it's really nerve wracking, man, to be
Yeah.
honest with you. It's
Man,
nerve
I done seen cats chip up within a 2 foot, 3 foot chip and still 4-putt it.
no doubt.
Oh,
And
no.
don't have no the undulations, and don't do that to yourself. And I'm in Cali, so we got Kikuyu greens, and them they sticky and fast at the same
Right.
time. You
Yeah.
can't roll them in and get lucky and it just fall on the edge. You got
Nah,
to put them in,
gotta
and
put
if
them
you
in.
don't, and if you miss them, you're gonna go 4 feet past the hole. But you can't inch them in like on some greens. So man, I get my hats off to the pros, elite juniors, collegiate level golfers. Just because we on social media and we playing on Saturdays, don't mean we in good competition or
Oh, no.
tournament. I don't
No.
care how many, if you in a tournament pressure situation and you got 12 greens, even 11 and 11s is tough. I done seen people 4-putt on 10 and a half. It just, it's not easy. That's why they always say putting is the key. Putting is the key. You can
Yeah.
probably get to any hole in 2 or 3 shots, no matter how long it is. But can you get that ball in the hole? But straight up, shout out to Jeff Champ, Cameron Champ, and all the participants and the staff that really made that work and really made our premier minority tournament very special last weekend.
Yeah.
Anything else? Oh, Trish, you've been doing a lot of good golf women's history. Make
Yeah.
sure you guys check out the Golf Locker Room podcast on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
And there's some really good women's history
Yeah.
on
And I've been enjoying it. It's
there.
been awesome. Yeah. Like you read about it, like you know about it. You think you
Look
know
that up
about it.
too.
Yeah. You think you know about it. But then you like when you really dig deep and you go to researching and stuff, it's like, wow,
Yeah,
So
you've done good. You've done good research.
yeah, it's been cool. No, but
Yeah.
for me this week went out to Valspar and that was really awesome. Went and played golf that morning, then ran out there and caught Bramlett, on the 16th, 17th, and 18th hole when he finished up. So it was neat to see him,
Nice.
up front, close and personal.
Nice.
And it's just crazy. I mean, and then like you say, when we're out there playing every Saturday, every Sunday, it's so different from what them
Oh, we
guys
ain't
were
doing
doing.
that.
Oh, it
We
was
drinking
crazy.
beer. Yeah. That's the big
Crazy.
league. That's the big time, man. It's big time.
Yeah,
It looks the same, but that's big time. That's big time stuff.
They were doing some crazy stuff.
Yeah.
The pros
So
be-
dope. So yeah, make sure you check that out on Facebook. The histories is several different stories on our Facebook page. You'll be very entertained, and you might learn a little something or be aware of something you did not know. I did actually. I don't know. Oh, I think you was out of town. I did a Maggie Hathaway. You just did Maggie Hathaway on the Facebook page, and I learned on the Maggie Hathaway green. It's in South Central, right around the corner from Chester. And but I knew her story, dope story. Yeah, read up, get that up again. All right, I think it's time. What you think? Let's bring in our guest. I'm gonna let you do the honors, Trish.
Yeah. All right. So we have Coach Leonard Smoot Jr. He's at Miles College. It's his eighth year in season.
Wow.
He's got a lot of accolades. Like 2 shows couldn't cover all the things this man's done. I mean, he's
That's right.
Marines, 24, 25 years. He's been in the golf world, for 24, 25 years. And this guy's only like 32 years old. I'm trying to figure it out. But
Where does it? How did he cram all that excellence into a few years?
I'm trying to
I know
figure it
some
out.
60-year-olds ain't done nothing yet. I'm still waiting on them.
I'm serious, like, man. And then we also have one of the former athletes that played there as well. So we have Vitthal Parker that'll be joining us as well. So we
Nice,
definitely
nice,
have two
nice.
great guys coming on tonight.
All right, well, let's give him up. Let's just bring him on in there. We got Coach Smoot and Vitthal. Welcome, gentlemen. Welcome to the Golf Locker Room Podcast.
All right.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
All right,
Appreciate
all right. No problem, Coach. No problem, Mr. Parker. Coach, let's just get right into you. Give us just a little background on your enormous accomplishments in history and how you got to the point that you are now. It's very entertaining and very inspirational.
Well, that's an interesting story. I'm a kid that grew up in Flint, Michigan. Golf was not a thing to do in Flint. My uncle obviously played, and just like many others, many of us, we have uncles and aunts that played the game, and he tried to get me in the game. And I was a baseball player, wasn't interested in playing no golf, because growing up there, basketball, football, baseball was the thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
And really, for me, he put a set of clubs in my hands. I looked at them and kind of put them in the garage, and I was like, okay. Fast forward, joined the Marine Corps. While in the Marine Corps, several years down the road, my career took off. Saw my bosses playing the game, and I kind of like a light bulb just kind of went off and said, maybe I need to learn this game. So what I did was picked up a Nick Faldo Golf Digest book and opened that book up and started teaching myself how to play the game.
Wow.
And then ultimately I became the third African American to ever make the Marine Corps golf team.
Oh, wow. Let's get that up too.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to let you do some logistic stuff. Mr. Vitthal Parker, student athlete, graduated. Now you're diving into entrepreneurship. Give us a brief background on your journey.
Yeah, my journey into golf was very unintentional. Like I think, like a lot of Coach Smoot kind of mentioned about his as well, where I grew up in the Atlanta area, and I moved right outside of the city, just west of the city when I was about 8 or 9 years old, and changing and growing up, and my parents were searching for something for me to do in the summer as a kid to keep me out of trouble. Like, this is a story for so many people, and there happened to be a park on the west side of the city, John A. White Park, that had a camp Best Friends that was, it was in my parents' budget for the summer, and it was a good productive thing to do. And there happens to be a golf course at the park, so just being at this summer camp where we're a bunch of kids swimming and playing sports and interested in other sports, and I'm playing every other sport, never even considered golf, and I pick up a couple golf clubs, and just as I went to this camp for several years and just grew up and, kind of like was around the game and picked it up and showed interest in it. And fortunately, I was able to be mentored by some of the Atlanta golf legends and people like that just took interest in me as well as a young man, and, really taught me about, what the game meant and what it could do for me and things of that nature. And I kind of gravitated towards it because it was such a challenge for me. It was the one sport that I think was, athletic ability, mental capacity, no matter what you have, you possess this God-given, it doesn't matter. Like, you gotta, when it comes to golf, practice, you gotta get to it. It's challenging for everybody that does it. So I think that I gravitated towards that because it was such a challenge, and I was fortunate to, grow up through the camp for a long time and have a decent junior career, and play my way on the Coach Smoot's team at Miles and travel the country and go to camps all across the country as a junior and play everywhere and play some of the nicest courses and meet some lifelong friends and things of that nature ever since. So I'm,
let's get that up. I give that up. The dream is alive, and golf will take
Mhm.
you 1,000 places. Back to Coach Smoot, and so you're playing with your coworkers or or your Marines, and you're really playing. So then, tell me some more transition now that you're playing
Well,
with your.
I got good enough. I got good enough to play. To be the third African American ever in the Marine Corps to make that team. And so,
Mhm.
you know, obviously, I got good enough where my bosses, the general, my personal boss wanted to go out and play with me and spend time with me. I got the opportunity. I was stationed in Japan. Got the opportunity to travel. Playing in Asia, in Italy, and places like that.
Wow.
Nice.
And golf continued to kind of take me through that journey throughout my Marine Corps career. After 24 years, I decided to retire and come out. And as I decided to come out, I really didn't know what I wanted to do in life. I had always wanted to coach. I mean, I was a boxer, but I was also a boxing coach while I was in there as well. And so after I retired, I always knew I wanted to work with kids. I always thought it might be at a high school level, never at a college at the college level. And it kind of God works in mysterious ways. He already has your paths kind of set in place. I'm a big true believer of that.
Mhm.
Um, so through that my time after I retired, I decided to move to Birmingham, Alabama. My family grew up here. My sister was living here at the time. She was the county commissioner here, the youngest county commissioner, but first female.
Wow.
Talked me into coming here, introduced me to the president of Miles College, and said, I kind of explained to him how golf could, be a prestigious opportunity for the college itself, and how it could kind of make a different impact at the college. Um, kind of I went back to college, went myself, and did all of that. And during that time, right after I graduated, I get this call out of the blue, talking about the president said he wants to start this golf program. He doesn't want to start it without you. I'm like, okay, can you make a 10 o'clock meeting? I said, sure. I wasn't doing anything. I was selling insurance. So, um, and so you know, being a Marine and stuff, I knew how to put stuff together.
That's
Um,
right.
and knew what I wanted to do, how I wanted to accomplish setting some goals and objectives to get to where I really wanted the program to be. So I just went out on that journey. Had about 4 months to kind of start a program that never existed at the college.
Wow.
Reached out to a football friend of mine that was coaching at the University of Alabama, Birmingham, to get his policy manual, because I knew I had to have some kind of policy in place for these young men. And then be honest with you, I just kind of went out and started down the list and figuring out, uh, okay, where am I getting these players? I know it's gonna be a rough patch because I don't know where to start. Um, and then with Vitthal being one of my very first players, well, I think he was going to go to Morehouse before he was going to go to Miles College because of the coach that was there. But I was coming back from a recruiting trip. I had went and visit Sam Per Year, who's the head golf coach over at Howard University. At
Mhm.
that time, he was at Queens University. I wanted some insight on what I needed to do. How can I make my
Mm.
program the best program possible for the young men that was going to come into my program? So I was coming back from North Carolina, and it was raining. I was passing through Augusta. I'm just about to get into Atlanta. I said, well, I'm going to call him anyway. So I called him and his parents and say, hey, can you guys meet me at Panera Bread? I think that's where we met. We met at Panera Bread, got to talking. I didn't even talk about golf. Because he was, academically sound.
Mhm.
Um, he was a 3.6 GPA at that particular time. I just told him, look, we can take some pressure off your parents. If you can get to this 3.7, And I think he already had the 24 ACT. I said, we can get you a presidential scholarship. And that way you don't have to even worry about paying out money coming out of your pocket, get your college education. And that's kind of where my conversation started. And we developed a relationship from there. My concern really with all the students that come in to play me is that how can I get them out of college and not be come out of their pocket or have this astronomical amount of money that they got to pay at the end of 4 years. That's number one priority for me. So
let's get that up too. Cause that and some air horns on that. That's God's work right there, because that means they're coming out with a full head of steam and not a full head of debt, because that debt is heavy. That
yes,
debt is
sir.
heavy. Ooh, that debt is heavy. Sif or Miss Clark, jump on in.
Hey, Coach Smoot, I can
Yes,
tell
sir.
that you were an insurance salesman, man. You can sell water to a well. But that's a part of it, man. But that's just being in when we were on the green room before we came on live with the show,
Right.
and just bantering back and forth. I automatically knew what time it was, man, in terms of your demeanor, your personality. You spoke about taking the kids to Vegas, and so a lot of times, man, people don't understand. And for our viewers, because we have college-bound kids, parents that watch the show, and so you're taking kids that have never been out of the zip code, and when you watch them get off an airplane or watch them go into an arena or go to a different big-time court, you see their eyes get big as 50-cent pieces, and that does something for a child who's never been anywhere. And so I commend you for the exposure piece. And just like when you said, Mr. Parker here, you met his mom, his parents at Panera Bread, and you didn't talk golf. A lot of times with parents, man, being a former college football player and having recruits coming to my parents' home, the thing was the parents felt comfortable with what you were selling. You weren't selling golf. The kid could play golf. You weren't selling golf. You were selling economics. You were selling an extended father. You were selling an extended coach. You were selling an education. You were selling a therapist. So you were selling all those things. Golf as athletes and players, the athletics always take care of itself. It's the things that are in between. And so I tell parents that all the time, man, we're not even worried about the golf or the football or the basketball. We're worried about the in between. And I can tell by the young man, I always address the young man as Mr. Parker. I can tell he has a lot of respect for you just by the way that it's just his demeanor. That's the way he's sitting up, he's speaking. You have no idea, and I'm sure you do, the wonders that you've done for this young man and others who have come through your program. And it's not even about golf.
Right.
So I had to take my hat off to you, man, because you're one of the ones that we love to see in these positions, man, because
that's the key.
You're very intentional. You care about the child first, getting an education, and by a way of education means better opportunities for your student athletes, man. So I appreciate you, and I just met you the last 5 minutes, man. So,
right.
Let's get that up.
So, Mr. Parker, so 2018, summa cum laude, dual business administration and accounting degree graduate. I mean, that's phenomenal, right? I know one of the questions that we get from some of the youth golfers that are getting into college or just starting into college. I know one of them, Kendall Jackson. One of the questions she asks is management. How did you manage your academics? How did you manage golf? How did you manage any exercise or whatever that you had to do? How was you able to manage that? And what would you advise to our, incoming, students into college?
Absolutely, yeah. I think it really all starts with self-awareness. I think that like it for me, I know it started when I was making a college decision, right? So you hit it right on the head when you talked about how Coach Smoot came and he talked about more than just golf. I mean, I think that like a lot of college coaches recruited me and they were talking about they're making promises like, I promise you we win a championship in 3 years. I promise I'm gonna build this. I'm gonna build this for the school. We're gonna have this and all this. And it's like all those things are flashy and they catch my eye as an 18-year-old kid. And this, but obviously you can imagine the conversation that my parents had with me when they sat me down and said, we're not paying for college. So take these promises or you can take this free education. So, and I think that when I say the being self-awareness pieces, I know myself that I work best when I'm extremely busy. When I have a lot of idle time,
Mm,
I have a very active mind. So like when I have a lot of idle time, I get bored, I get distracted, I get off task. So I wanted to put myself in as many things as possible to set myself up for success. And I knew that going into college, being on my own and being in a far less structured environment than I had previously been in high school and playing sports and doing all these other things, that having something like a golf coach who was a Marine and he was instilling a
yeah.
workout program into the schedule is at
Nice.
6
Oh,
a.m. workouts every morning. I knew
that's
something like
dope.
that to make me tough, like an uphill battle was something that was going to get me on track. It was something that was going to, provide me structure and teach me how to, be on my own in a lot better way. And I think that when it comes to doing everything else that I wanted to do, Coach Smoot was 100% my cheerleader and my champion when it came to I wanted to pledge a fraternity and I pledged a fraternity. I wanted to double major and I double majored. And I got an internship in my junior year right after literally my best season I had ever had. I was coming off setting school records and playing. I had been at the top of my game and I got an opportunity to go live in New York City for 3 months of summer and miss 3 months of developing my game to chase a dream of mine to be in the business world. And Coach Smoot was, a sounding board for me in terms of making the decision and what it
Wow.
took and what I was giving up and what I was accepting and how, we have to make those type of choices in life. So I think that to anybody that's going into college is just knowing, having, you don't have to have it all planned out, but having an idea of where you want to see yourself going
Mm,
and start putting it into effort, how you're going to get there and what it is that what are your strengths and what are the things that you need to work on and things like that. So I think that that's exactly what set me up for success, and I couldn't have done that without having mentors that I mentioned before that taught me the game of golf, and having a coach like Coach Smoot, and having parents that believed in me and helped me make decisions.
That's
nice,
beautiful.
nice. Let's get that
That's
up.
beautiful.
What an incredible journey. What an
That's
incredible
beautiful.
journey.
That boy bad.
Yeah, that boy bad. That's my boy, Bad Boy Golf. Thanks for your service, Coach Smoot. Bad Boy Golf, he's on social media. Yeah, he's I hate to put him out there, but he's listening. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
He's a NASA guy, works for JPL. Crazy. But he's a golfer. And
That's
he
okay.
watches the show, and I just had to give him a shout out because he comes on the show every now and then and listens. What up, Bad
Right.
Boy Golf? Okay, Coach, tell us about
Yep.
some of the trials and tribulations of running a golf program. You just started up. They didn't have one before, or they suspended it and you brought it back several years later, or they never had a program. You dug it out from the dirt, and now you're in your 5th or 6th year or 8th year.
This is our eighth, and actually, I'm going into my ninth season.
Wow. Wow.
And
Let's just get
the
that up
college had
too.
never had a golf program, and as far as I know, in the history of the college itself, it never had a program. So, I mean, a lot of hard work, day and night. I put a lot of work into what I did from a standpoint of staying up late at night, figuring out. I touched bases with at that time. I think Eddie Jackson, obviously, as mentioned, Sam Per Year, UAB coach Kaufman. I've reached out to Karen Evans Davis at Auburn. Um, I really wanted to base my program on a D1 program and not just a D2 program. I wanted to base it on all of that. Um, and all of those folks, that I reached out to, they, gave me advice, and I'm like, okay, let me set these goals, let me set these objectives. And from there, every year, just kind of, I guess, because I was a Marine, I used to see the PGA Minority Collegiate. At that time, it was called the PGA Minority. Now called the PGA Works. I used to
Mm.
just say, one of these days I'm gonna go see that because okay, and check it out, and um, come to find out, I'm finding myself in the midst of it all now. But it just takes hard work. Kind of what Vitthal saying is, just, I knew what kind of person I was. I know what kind of man my parents raised. I know what the Marine Corps had instilled in me and how, to take care of young men. I mean, I was a leader as a young 18-year-old. So I knew what I was going to do when it came to trying to instill in my program um, discipline, accountability, um, making sure you're trying to be the man that you want to be, making sure that I maintain that the foundation of what what their parents' expectation. I got two daughters of my own, so I know what my expectation is as a parent. I just want to make sure that the parents know that I would never be here to tear down your child, but I'm here to help build your child up to the level of your expectations. So
Mm.
we all talk about this village, and that's exactly what we became. We became a village, and every kid that have come through my program, and I don't say my program, I always try to say it's our program until it gets off kilter, and I say it's my program. But it's even with the student athlete, it takes us all to make the program successful. I can't do it by myself as a coach. I just can instill, put in, put things in place that help us get there. But they also, from an academic standpoint, they know I'm a driller. Midterms, if your midterms ain't right, we got a problem. You can't be on my course.
That's right.
It's just trying to build men to be responsible and accountable to themselves, not even necessarily to me, but to themselves.
Right.
Mm.
You
Hear
know,
that?
um, and with Vittal's his parents and several, and probably majority of all the parents that I've that's been a part of my program, we still talk to this day.
That's right. That's
So
right. A village. A
Love
village.
it.
Yeah, man. Dope, man.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful journey. Beautiful journey. All right, Vidal, tell us what you're doing now, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did all that training and all that college? Where are we at?
Yeah, it's definitely been a journey for sure. So after college, after I graduated, I moved to New York City. I was working at JP Morgan in digital marketing for
Oh
about
wow.
4 years, and I was like COVID hit 2020, and by mid summer of 2021, I was kind of at a point where my lease was about to end, and I was feeling like I always had a dream of entrepreneurship and owning my own business, and consulting, working with small businesses and working with people like me and working in our community and having a more of an impact on people that were trying to get somewhere. I think that and I had an opportunity to do that, so I took a risk and I moved back to Atlanta and just went full time entrepreneurship mode. And I've been freelancing and consulting and scraping and clawing. And it's been a lot of ups and downs, and it's been a battle. I'm trying to continue to build the business and find stable clients. And it's definitely been great though. I've learned a lot about myself. I've learned a lot about business. I've learned about a lot about life, about budgeting, finances, anything you can imagine. So I'm currently own a business consulting firm. It's called the Maniacal Media Group, and we specialize in small businesses. So if you have a business idea that's not up and running yet, we'll do things like build you a business plan, get you all of the things so you can head into the bank and get a business loan, so you can go into the Chamber of Commerce and get funding, so that you can be all set up and clear to get your approvals, get your whatever industry that you're in, be in the clear to go ahead and get started the right way. If you have a business that's already going and you're looking for marketing help or looking to boost sales or boost your presence online digitally, we specialize in that as well. So, and even with some bigger businesses, consulting for management consulting and marketing consulting in the digital space as well. So it's been great. It's been a wonderful journey, and I'm looking forward to continuing it and interacting with and networking with more people such as yourselves and in this community.
That's beautiful.
That's dope.
This is
What a journey. What a
Yeah.
journey. Coach
Yeah.
Smoot, you help building future leaders in our community. Just the work you've done has just been just astronomical. Sif or Trish, chime on in if you like to
Yeah.
either of the guests.
Hey, Mr. Parker, I tell you what, how old are you?
I'm 26.
26 years old, man. I tell you what, you have a bright future.
Thank you.
Yeah, you have a very bright future. You know, my suggestion to you is definitely stay the course. It's going to get tougher before it gets easier, but that's while you're in the valley. But you're going to walk out of the valley eventually. Then you'll be able to pick all the low hanging fruit that you want because you're very solid. I can tell. Stay the course. Believe in what you're selling, and the rest is history. But I also want to ask you a question. Let's go back to the golf piece. The Jeff Champ and Cameron Champ just put on their annual event, the MAC Invitational. It was all minority juniors across the country came to one spot and battled it out. And so, you know, you had some pretty good scores, played a very difficult golf course. So some of the parents will be listening to what you will be saying when I ask you this question. You said that you took you stopped playing golf for 3 months to visit an opportunity in New York. Okay, do you feel like that you had a chance to play next level golf? If you didn't, in your heart of hearts, what was the decision making process in terms of saying, I'm going to let this go because I don't know if I have a shot, or I do have a shot, may not have the opportunity, but I'm going to let this go and you know, take on this opportunity in New York.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, thank you for the amazing compliment. It's definitely great to hear that. You know, especially going through it right now and going through the journey and the process. So I appreciate the positivity and the positive words. As far as playing at the next level, I honestly believe I had the talent to play at the next level. I think that I was at a breaking point where I was at my best. Like I think that I had finally was starting to break through and shoot under par quite a bit more. I always had the ability to. It's always about with golf and anything that you do, consistency, right? So I think that I was somebody had told me, and Coach Smoot had told me, once you start shooting under par, once you break into doing it a few times, that's when things start to click for you. You can start doing it again. And I was hitting my stride, starting to do that. I was piecing together rounds and turning what would have been bad rounds into solid rounds and turning solid rounds into good rounds and good rounds into great rounds. And I knew that summer heading into my last year was going to be a huge grind in terms of golf aspect. And I think that where I made the decision to kind of pivot focus was I just had to have a real heart-to-heart moment with myself and really kind of like evaluate my goals and what I saw myself doing long term and what grind I wanted to pursue, right? Like, did I want to, you know, grind it out on the golf course and chase that lifestyle and put in the work that it takes to be successful in that? Or did I want to put in the work that it takes to be successful in business? And I think that I ultimately chose business because I think that's where my heart and my head was really more so at, right? Like I think that growing up playing golf, I always loved it. And I think that it was always something that, you know, I appreciate and that I will always love. And I'm starting to honestly just get back into the game quite a bit more because, as you can imagine, when I moved to New York City, there wasn't a whole lot of golf being played. I only would play corporate events, or when the CEOs or the execs got wind that I played in college, I would get invited to tournaments, which, you know, speaks to the networking opportunities of golf and how it can take you where you want to go. But I think that I just didn't see myself, you know, because I have friends that have pursued the career and have gone to play at the next level. And my cousin went to school with Harold Varner, so I met him and spoken to him a few times and saw him and his journey. And I have people who have been on mini tours and chasing that lifestyle. And it's definitely a grind, right? It's not always you come out of college, you get a tour, you get a sponsorship exemption, you playing in the Masters the next year, right? Like sometimes you find it on the mini tour, sometimes you gotta I've seen friends sleeping in their cars to go down to tournaments because they couldn't afford room and board for the tournament, and then go win the tournaments, and now they can, or lose the tournaments, and now they got to go back to the clubhouse and figure things out, right? So it's all about, being willing to do that. And I didn't want to put myself into something that I didn't feel like I was 100% into. And as much as I love golf and I love competing, and I loved and had made my commitment to playing in college, I felt like business was really a path where I could see myself putting 100% and being willing to struggle for it versus golf. So,
Hey,
Very nice.
Coach Smoot, why isn't Mr. Parker at the corporate level on the PGA?
Sorry. Why is he not?
Right. Here's the thing. The dude is he's beyond his years in maturity. He has a deep understanding of how things work. He's able to use reason and rationale. Obviously, he's got the credentials academically, and he still loves the game. Why isn't a guy like this at the corporate level at the PGA?
Well, he could be at the corporate level of the PGA. In my opinion, I mean, if that's something that I've always supported him from a standpoint of we still talk periodically, and opportunities present itself. I mean, I'm quite sure the door would open for him, no doubt. I think he mentioned about playing professionally. He could have played professionally too. I think with the Advocate Store being around now, would have been a great opportunity for him to pursue his dream from that perspective. But I've always been a coach to kind of support them from a standpoint of they're making their own decisions.
Right.
Once you like I tell them, you're no longer a boy, you're a man. So you got to make man decisions, right? So you got to think through the process. You got to, and you hear just how articulate he is. He can do anything he chooses to do in life right now.
Yeah. And I guess what I'm asking is, and Manny, I'll be quiet after this, is that you got a tour right now that's preaching diversity, equity, and inclusion across the board. All right. Here's a guy that obviously knows how to handle himself in high pressure situations. You're always able to tell a man how he's able to handle himself in the middle of chaos. And obviously, I think he can just by the way that he speaks. But it seems like the PGA should be coming to find a guy like this.
Well, go, Trish.
I say for Parker though, I mean, so Parker, it's one of those things. I mean, he could very well go to the PGA or any of those jobs that are out there, and there are plenty of jobs out there. But he's doing the entrepreneur thing, so he's bossing on his own. So the opportunity is there. Yeah, he definitely bossing. So if he wants to, I'm sure the opportunity is there, and he can go out and get it, and he's very well qualified to do so. But I mean, I really commend him on. I mean, JP Morgan. I mean, that's big. And he was there for 4
that's big. We're going to give that up for them.
He did the corporate world.
Yeah.
And then he took a leap out on faith, and he's doing the entrepreneur thing. And I love it. I love it. So, I mean, but we know them options are out there for him. I can't speak for him, but I mean, I just think it's big ups for he's doing the boss.
I don't think he's seen his last golf journey. I just don't think he hasn't seen his life, whether the PGA hires his company to consult or he goes, I just don't see him. He hasn't made his last golf journey yet. We need leaders like this. This is what we do our show for. This is what I'm sure Coach leads men and trains men for, so that when we're long in the dirt, the Mr. Parkers is bringing up the next young group of guys and leading them. So he's fine. Coach Smoot.
And he's the future. And he's the future.
Definitely.
He's the future. He's a part of those game changers, what I call game changers.
Yep.
They're the risk takers, and he's proven that. He could have stayed in corporate America and worked for JP Morgan and worked himself up the food chain. But he made a conscious decision to take a chance on himself.
Right.
And and I'm also the vice president of the Black College Golf Coaches Association as well. So, Scooter Clark at the PGA, PGA Works is doing some things as well to kind of, along with Mike Cooper and several others. We just met in January about diversity, equity, and inclusion. So that discussion, you know, although George Floyd's death is tragic, we all are benefiting from his death,
Yep.
and
The blood.
and and we have to give thanks to his family, for for him, because these opportunities probably would not sped up as fast as they're going now if it wasn't for him. And so, the young people that look like you and I are now having that opportunity, to get in these positions. We have Marsha Oliver at the PGA Tour level that's in diversity and inclusion. Now the right people are being put in the places that it needs to be put in, that look like you, that can speak for us. Many times, and people that's been in those positions have been people that can't speak our language. So
Well said.
so for the young people like Vitthal and others that are playing this game, they're going to be our game changers, and that's where that's where I see young people like him and other uh, black black golfers, both male, female, moving us forward in this game, and other places in the business world as well. So.
No
For
doubt.
sure. Let's get that up too. Definitely.
You gotta have the right, but you have to have the right ones in the positions, not the ones who occupy a position. I see Mr. Parker shaking his head. That's one of the reasons, Mr. Parker, we're trying to plan your career, so we'll follow that. That's one of the reasons. You have a strong guy like that under your tutelage, that understands and gets it. That's the guy that's going to be the game changer, because he's going to hold everybody accountable. He's not just going to be a neo-colonial person in a position, just because it's skin tone, but go along to get along.
That's right. That's right.
I think like the other piece of that, right, is that person in that position, the right person in the right position, has to be able to utilize the tools that they have, and they have to be empowered to speak the way they want to speak and speak to who they need to speak to make it happen. I think that's another thing is, if that person is the right person, but they're silenced and their hands are tied behind their back and you're asking them to do it, then again,
again, we're not doing nothing. We chasing our own tail. Exactly. Trish, you have a question?
Yeah, so this is for Coach Smoot. So Smoot, I always ask all the coaches that come on from the HBCUs, I always ask, so program's good, tracking real good, doing great things, winning. But everybody, every team, every program needs a something. So is there a top three? I mean, maybe obviously not funding. We're not going to talk about funding because we know every team could use funding, scholarships. But is there anything that your program could use or needs, top three for your program?
Scholarships would probably be number one, always for me. Two, equipment would be probably number two. Balls, gloves, umbrellas, rain suits, all that kind of stuff that I like to equip my guys with. And then just continue words of encouragement for every student athlete at any college for me. I mean, I got relationships with every kid that I've recruited, that I still talk to, that went to other colleges, that I've always told them, this is your first business decision. Don't feel that I'm never offended by you going to some other college, because it's your decision. So a continued encouragement of the student athletes as they pursue their dreams of playing, whether it's playing golf or getting, working in the workplace, or being an entrepreneur. That would probably be my third thing. Let us, when I say us, I'm talking about us, continue to encourage our kids. I think many times we fall short of that. I think we
Mhm.
fall short
Yeah.
of that continued encouragement.
Okay.
And sometimes when you look at kids and they dress a certain way, you automatically make an assumption until you talk to them and find
Mm-hmm.
out just how smart they are.
Yeah.
And I
Exactly.
think we gotta be careful. You gotta be careful with that as well.
Got
So
Okay.
to.
that would be
That
my third
kid,
thing.
let's get that up. Because that thin child on the corner with the hoodie could be the next Tiger Woods.
Mm.
Talk to him. Say hello
Yeah.
to him.
Introduce them.
Absolutely.
Never know.
Yeah.
Never know. And with golf and with people like Coach Smoot and Mr. Parker, already matriculated and still carrying the torch, more athletes will go over to golf. We had the potential to have many people on tour, but our athletes don't always know about even golf, and so they go into basketball and football and soccer and whatever. But more and more as golf becomes normalized, I like to say we need to normalize golf in our communities. We'll start getting the Mr. Parkers and the athletes and the scholar athletes that will actually take a chance on golf. We got a lot of athletes that could be great that don't even take a chance on golf for 1,000 different reasons. The cost reason, the just exposure. A lot of us are urban people, so it's not a lot of golf in urban cities. So yeah, we getting there. We getting there. Any follow-ups or questions, Sif or Trish?
Pardon words for me. With Coach Smoot, you said the we thing. You said us, and you
Mhm.
talked about that you were rooting for not only your players but all players. So what
Mhm.
came to mind for me was when Juwan Howard was victimized um, by slapping the coach or whatever they said. But then when he hugged that player from Tennessee that was crying, and but that shows that who Juwan Howard is. So to your point, we have to make sure we take care of all of our kids. And coach, I know you got my boys Livingstone in 2021, but you come on back down the road with that stuff now. It's a wrap.
Don't you know I do my scouting reports? Don't you know I do my scouting reports? You obviously don't know I do my scouting reports. I know what he got.
Miss Trish, pardon
Yeah, you
words.
want me to come down there because you think I'm gonna take a butt whooping. But you know what? Hard work. I work hard. I
That's
work
right.
hard.
Hey,
It's not gonna be that easy.
coach, did you ever watch the movie Four Brothers?
What?
Did you ever watch the movie
Did I
Four
ever watch?
Brothers?
I did. I did.
You remember when at
I
the
did watch that movie.
toward the end they were cutting that ice out, and they said, and my man said, "My boys will be coming here in a minute." You remember that part?
Vaguely, but I do.
And Andre 3000 say, "They ain't coming. You ain't coming."
Oh Lord,
All
Miss
right.
Trish.
No, so my last one. So this is just a question to the two of y'all, totally off the topic of everything. So this is about Tiger. Do either one of you think that Tiger's going to play in the Masters?
Man,
No.
You don't think so? What you think? What you think, Mr. Parker?
I feel like if anybody, if I don't want to bet against anybody, it's Tiger Woods. So, but I think that I put my eyes on next year. I think next year.
Okay.
Yeah, me too. I think I'm with that too. I think if he plays anytime this year, it might be the Open because it's at
Well,
St. Andrews.
they're watching the
It's a little-
list where the not playing list, and he's not on the not playing list yet. So,
Well, yeah, I think the PGA Tour, the Masters, be like, don't put your name off the list yet. We want some more intrigue. But
Yeah.
that's a big walk. That's a big walk, man. That's
I
a
just
big
think
walk.
it's the hills he got to climb, and
Exactly.
I don't know if his condition is going to be able to withstand that task for 4 brutal days, and will he hold up? From that perspective, I know he's working hard, but I don't know if will he be in that kind of condition. So that's kind of the only question I would have.
Yeah.
Physically, is he physically capable of doing it?
To doing that.
Mentally, we all know he's capable of doing it, but is
Definitely.
he
Exactly.
physically
Okay.
That's right.
right? So
Sounds good. All right. Fellas, gentlemen, coach, scholars, future leaders, it's just always a pleasure to have you on the Locker Room podcast to just share with our guests. Like Sif and Trish said, we have a lot of parents and we have a lot of amateurs and we have a lot of just enthusiasts all along that loves our program and loves to hear from the professionals or the student athlete that actually went through the program and can shed light on uh, what it was like for him or her and what they're doing now. So we just thank you because we don't like to guesstimate or just assume. We like to hear from the people that's in the fire. We like to
Yeah.
hear from the people that dug it out the dirt from nothing and started from nothing and now they got something. So again, 1,000 thanks for coming on. We always tell everybody you're what Trish was our fourth or fifth HBCU. Check out Miles
Yeah.
College. Make sure
Yeah.
you hit that donate. Go to the athletic page. They could always use something. Everybody can use something.
Yeah.
Coach Smoot is doing God's work. And if we say we love our juniors and we want to watch TV and see some people like us, guess where it start at? With Coach
Yeah.
Smoot
Yeah.
and the other HBCUs and everywhere else. So let's get on it. Let's get on
Yeah.
it. Let's get on it. Again, thank you guys 1,000. And what else?
and
Are
I
we
just
out
want to
already?
I just
Uh-huh.
want to say thank you to you guys. I just want to say thank you to you guys. This Trish and I met. This is amazing. This is amazing. Y'all, you all keep killing it. Keep killing it over there. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you.
And
Mr.
Mr.
Parker,
Parker,
again,
make
thank you.
yeah. Mr. Parker, make sure we get your link so to your business so that we can make sure we share it in our show notes so we can folks can come out and see where they can come to you when they need
Exactly. What's your
some
social
coaching.
media? What's your social
Absolutely,
media?
much appreciated. So my social media is at maniacal.mg. So please follow me on Instagram at maniacal.mg. And again, as Coach Smoot said, I just want to echo, this is amazing. I appreciate what you guys are doing. I love to see it, and I definitely want to connect with you afterwards and let you know of some people that I think would be great for you guys to speak with as well. And that I know, I think that so
I appreciate that.
I appreciate you for having me on.
We all in. We all in. Like we say, you family. I think what's this, the fifth HBCU? You can always come back anytime. Once you on, you family. Our purpose is to network. Our purpose is where
I love
others don't allow you to say whatever you want to say. We
it.
provide a platform to let you say whatever it is you want to say. Except maybe Sif. We're gonna have to
Yeah.
Coach Smoot. We might have to watch Sif sometime. We
We got
can't really
time.
let him say
Yeah.
everything he wants to say. He can say almost everything he wants to say. Nah, I'm just messing with Big
Almost.
Sif. Almost everything he wants to say.
I'm fighting power now. I'm fighting the power.
That's right. That's right. And with that, we
Hello.